So we've pretty much had a whole ignition system failure on this truck. Like I said, this original module, even bypassing, and I bent the pins on this one so I know which one was bad, and it tested bad, but even bypassing the electronic spark control, it wouldn't work. This one actually never tried with the electronic spark control hooked up. Did I? No, I didn't. But with the new module, electronic spark control hooked up, it will not run. Bypass the electronic spark control and it will run. So, bad module, bad electronic spark control, and the coil also tested bad. So I don't know if maybe the coil shorted out or something and just knocked out everything. But probably if I had this to do over again, I've already bought this thing, and they won't let you take electronics back, I don't think, but I probably would have went back with the 2-pin module instead of or a 4-pin module instead of the 5-pin that this one is, and just completely bypassed the electronic spark control. Kinda like having it, because if it does detect knocks, I feel like I can run a little bit more base timing and it'll subtract timing if it starts knocking. Alright, let me see if you have one for your four-wheeler. I feel like I could run more base timing and it would subtract timing if it started knocking, detonating. Let me see how much a electronic spark control module is, and I might, if I can find one of those and they're not too expensive, I might just go ahead and replace that, and that leaves the truck completely stock. And then later on, if I wanted to, I could modify it. Alright, so way up in there is the electronic spark control. And it's normally in that metal housing. And I went ahead and just took it apart to see if I could visually see anything wrong with it. I don't see anything wrong with it, but it does seem to be bad. So let me see if I can find one. So I've made progress. I did order a spark control module. I'm going to cancel that order because mine is good. Took it apart, everything looked good, so I was like, man, I don't really see anything could be bad with it. There it is right there. What I did, I checked. This pink wire is not hot. And that should be the hot wire. So I checked my connections all on the distributor, that little jumper thing, all that was good. I could, with the electronic spark control, and I checked all the wires. Well, except for the ones that go to the knock sensor. But I checked all the ones going all the way to the module. So not only did I check them to the connection, I pulled the distributor cap off, made sure the white, the black, white, and green, which are the ones that go to the distributor, made sure all those are good, made sure my ground was good, the brown one, and the ground on the distributor was good. The pink is hot wire, it was not hot, and then the yellow and the blue go to the knock sensor. So the pink, I jumpered it, used one of my connectors here, got that in there on the pink, and went to a cigarette lighter, and it started up and ran fine on the computer. So went back out here and I started checking with my test light, and I found this wire, this is the jumper that comes off of the distributor. This goes to the ESC. It's hot on this side of this fusible link and not hot on this side. And I think I've got a bad connection here. I don't think the fusible link blew. I think I've just got, it's the wire probably inside is corroded or something. And when I was messing with the distributor and all that, flipping the cap over, working in there, it probably pulled this wire and it probably had a corroded connection, and now it's broke. So we're gonna because even if I would have gotten that up against it, it wouldn't have popped this fusible link because that's on the other side of it. So there's nothing I could have done that would have popped this fusible link, on the computer side. So what I'm gonna do, I need to find me a glass fuse, but I've got these fuse holders, and these take, like I said, glass fuses, and I will, you put your wire in here, crimp it, put your fuse in there, and I'll take heat shrink tubing and put over this part, and then heat shrink over the part that comes apart from the fuse, so it'll make it a sealed, kind of like a fusible link, but it'll have a glass fuse inside. And I'll carry around an extra fuse if I ever need to take it apart. I can just take my knife, cut the heat shrink tubing off, and pop this thing open and replace the fuse. So that's the plan. Let me find some old glass fuses. It needs to be a 20 amp because this has got a 20 on it, so it's a 20 amp fusible link. Alright, so here we've got our fuse holder. I just hooked it up. You can see I'll just put this heat shrink tubing over it, and I'll shrink it, and I've got a 20 amp fuse inside that fuse holder. So we're kind of making a fusible link. If it ever blows again, all I got to do is just cut this heat shrink tubing off, and then I can pull that fuse holder off apart, put a new fuse in it, slip a piece of heat shrink tubing back over it, put the fuse holder back together, and just shrink the stuff back up. I just want to make sure no corrosion ever gets in there. This is actually marine grade heat shrink tubing. It's got that glue stuff in it, so it'll be a watertight seal. So let me get my heat gun. I've already checked to make sure. Like I said, I hooked it up right there just to test it, to make sure that I was getting power to the computer. So we're good. All we got to do is shrink that up and route it a little better, and we'll be good to go. All right, so here we go. This is the completed repair, and honestly, I almost say that's better than factory. That is a very good repair. So let me route this, plug it in, and we should be good to go. I gotta mount the computer back in, but we'll start it up, make sure it's good, then we can mount the computer back in. All right, back together except mounting the computer. Put this stuff out of the way. Perfect. Tighten the AC belt. Other than that, I think we're in pretty good shape. Yeah, we've loosened up a little bit. So let me get that tightened, and I'll have to mount the computer back. Not looking forward to that. It's hard to get in there to it.